What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Jared Williams Show. Today's episode, we are going to talk about how to think, plan, and lead in a way that gets people aligned and moving. A lot of you guys have started to build teams and you don't know how to lead your team. And so we're going to break this down into all the separate parts that you need to have figured out. But before I get into that, we got our incredible sponsor, PlumbLine. If you guys need 24-hour answering service, these guys are incredible. They do a great job. They'll pick up the phone. You can use them for overflow calls. You can use them as your CSR, or you can use them for after-hours calls. Basically, you would forward calls to them. They'll pick up your phone. They'll answer. They'll be super professional, and they book jobs at a really high rate, and you only pay per booked call. It's a great service. Use them in all my businesses. They've always been phenomenal. If you mention that you heard them from the Wealthy Plumber, you get 1 week of free calls. So you got nothing to lose. Go check them out. PlumbLineAnswers.org. Cool business, cool people. And what's up, Eddie?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Thanks for being on today.
Of course. I wouldn't miss it.
You don't have a choice.
I don't.
You're screwed. Yeah. So like I said, today we're talking about how to think, plan, and lead in a way that gets people all aligned in the same vision and then moving towards that. And hopefully by the end of this, our listeners will know how to avoid costly mistakes that most leaders make that we've probably made.
Probably. Learn the hard way.
Yeah. And how to build a team that executes on the daily tasks, the vision of the company, and helps move you forward. You ready for it?
I think so.
So what I got some parts here. I spent some time thinking. So I got part 1 through, part 9. So we got 9 parts. We're basically going to break this down to like 9 chunks that you have in order as a leader to be able to lead your team. Sound cool?
Sounds good to me.
So we're going to start with part 1. We're going to get into it.
It's good a place as any to start.
We could start with part 9 and work our way back.
No, I like part 1. Sounds good.
Okay. Part 1. I titled this one, The Discipline of Thinking Time. This is something I have done like a lot. I've always had a habit of doing this. It's pretty much the world I live in at this point. It's just, I just sit there and think about shit all day long.
I can tell when I'm talking to you and you're inside, you're in thinking mode. Going. I can say now's not the time.
Yeah. Okay. So this started with, I started just taking like time in the morning. I would journal. I'd take my journal and I would go sit on my front porch every single morning. Cause I would be like, when I started like prospector, I'd be busy all day running calls, talking to customers, estimating jobs, getting jobs done. And then I would set aside time like Thursday mornings from like 6 a.m. to noon every Thursday. That's when I would book all of my like calls, like Zoom calls, or I would book time to work on my price book or work on the business. I would do that every Thursday until I got into the office out of the truck, and then I had more time to work on the business instead of in it, which that's a big problem in and of itself. Most people get stuck working in the business. Yeah. I see a lot of the technicians, they are good at being a technician. They enjoy being a technician, and they want to hire somebody else to work on the business and not themselves. And I don't know how I feel about that in the beginning, because somebody's got to be setting a direction. Right. Somebody's got to sit down and like see the bigger picture of the business and go, okay, where are we going?
And can that new hire set the direction of the company, and then the owner who's acting as a technician say, sounds good, and then go follow through with that? That seems backwards, doesn't it?
It seems backwards to me, because I think most people who start businesses they're different kind of people. They're okay with the risk of starting a business, first of all. Right. And they're bigger. They're like typically bigger vision people, because they can see themselves as a technician and they can go, man, I think there's more that could be done. And they dream a little more maybe.
Maybe, yes, I think so. But how many people do you think start a business because enough people in their lives, maybe even customers of theirs or the customers of the company they work for, say, you should go into business for yourself?
You should go into business for yourself.
Dude, I can't tell you
make
how
all the
many
money.
times. Yeah, I would only ever use you. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that over the years from my customers that I would go work on their equipment regularly, and they would say, "Man, when are you going to start your own thing?" Like, how many people do you think start a business because of that?
A lot.
Probably a lot.
And they think that I'm going to have all the freedom and I'm going to make all the money and it's going to be awesome.
If that's the case, they may not be the visionary.
Yeah, maybe not.
The definition of the visionary, or they're starting for a different reason. I don't know.
I don't know either. They should definitely learn themselves, though, figure out where their strengths and weaknesses are. Either way, they should probably set aside some time to think about employees, problems, systems, like basically everything else we're going to talk about.
Absolutely.
In this podcast. And so I would sit down, like for me, it was always like, I viewed it as problem solving. So if I had any sort of problem, whether it was with my team or whatever, I would just take 20 minutes and I would number one, I would write down like what my goal is. So that I remember, okay, this is where I'm trying to go. And then I would think through my problems, like what's stopping me from getting there? What problems do I have currently that I need to solve? And I would just take some time. I would pick like the most important thing on that list. And then I would take 10, 15 minutes to just think through how I'm going to solve that particular problem. And what that forces you to do is it forces you to like actually take time to think about stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might be thinking about the same problem for weeks, months, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or you might think you have figured out the problem, but then all of a sudden, like something changes or whatnot. So like with, like recently with Dude Wash, I'm thinking about, how do we, like it's been, how do we get call volume? 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 Now we got call volume. And now every morning I'm thinking about how do we get sales? How do we structure our pricing in a way to where it looks, or our offer to the customer in a way that it looks super sexy and they feel stupid saying no? How do we sound better and cooler than all of our competition so people are willing to spend more money with us? And I'll ask those. I've been asking those questions for a month now, and then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to keep asking those questions until I figure out the answer.
Endless, yeah. And a lot of times you solve a problem or a part of a problem, and then it introduces other problems.
A new problem. Yeah, unfortunately. That's the way I think I've been saying this a lot lately because I heard it on the social media. Hey, you could get a lot more thinking time if you didn't scroll through social media, BT dubs.
Yes.
But I heard, it wasn't Hormozy. It was somebody talking about a Hormozy reel. It was Hormozy talking about how Jeff Bezos says owning a business is it's like a crap funnel. Like all the crap that nobody else can deal with just gets funneled to the owner, and he just gets to deal with crap all day. Hormozy said it's like chewing glass. The second you're done chewing glass, somebody puts more glass in your mouth.
Yeah.
And that's basically what you're doing. You got all these problems. You're trying to get them solved. And the second you get done, you solve one, it creates another problem. Or you move to the next level of business and there's a whole nother set of problems at that level. And so then you get to solve those.
Yeah. It's just a distillation of all the problems that the people below you can't solve. Like if this was a question of, man, how do I wash that patio? Like nobody's going to call you and say, how do I wash that patio?
Right.
The guy on the front line's figuring that out. But then all of the, if he can't solve that problem, he passes it up. And if he can't solve that problem, he passes it up. It's just a distillation of all the problems that the people below you can't solve. They're the most challenging. Congratulations.
Congrats.
You could have solved all the hard ones. Yeah.
I agree. So like think time, like just find some time to think about what you got going on, what your problems are, what you're doing.
Uninterrupted time.
And when it comes to like employees, like you need to get to the bottom of the real reason. Like, why aren't they doing what you want them to do? Like, what's missing? Is it clarity, incentives, systems? What's going on? And then if you don't know, like, let's say you decide, okay, they're missing clarity. How do I provide clarity? Well, now you have something that you can go research.
Yeah.
Or if you don't know if it's clarity, incentives, systems, vision, mission, well, then now you can go research. Like, okay, what does clarity do for my team? What do incentives do? What's a good incentive structure for this type of business? What do systems do for a team? Is that something I'm missing?
Yeah.
And just go deeper into every one of those topics. And that'll help you out a lot. You'll just be actually getting to the root cause of the problem. And hopefully like preventing being reactive when you're at work instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because most of the time, like if something's not working, it's your fault.
Yes.
Because you didn't set it up right. You didn't clarify right. You didn't put the right process in place or system in place, or you misunderstood something. At the end of the day, it ends up being your fault as the business owner, unfortunately.
Yep.
And get used to failing a lot and being wrong a lot, because that's part of the deal.
Yeah. If you can't handle that, you're not going to have a good time.
No, because that's pretty much all it is.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I've been doing for thinking through like topics. So if I get to that like research point in my game, dude, I pull up ChatGPT. They have you can get the app on your phone. Yeah, it's just called ChatGPT, but they have the voice mode. I renamed mine Wingman, but it's a British lady, so it doesn't make any sense. But I'll say, hey, Wingman, and it'll be like, Wingman reporting for duty.
Nice.
And like if I was wondering, okay, why is my team not doing what I wanted to do? Is it like I would go to ChatGPT and I would say, hey, here's what I got going on. First off, just go into ChatGPT, go to voice mode and say, hey, I'm going to tell you every single detail I can about my company. And I want you to ask me questions to get to know my company even better once I'm done. And just sit down and have a conversation, as weird as that sounds, with ChatGPT so that ChatGPT can get to know your business. Then go if you've got any documents for your business, go pop them in ChatGPT in that same thread and just say, hey, look these over and learn them. Then when you come to ask questions like this, you could give it some background and be like, hey, so I got this, we're trying to do this in the business and I'm finding that my guys this is happening out in the field. I think it might be because of these reasons. Can you help me think through this? Like ask me questions, help me think through and figure out what the problem is. And it's pretty wild what ChatGPT can do for you.
Yeah.
Like just help you think outside the box or think about things that maybe you wouldn't have thought of yourself. It's like having a personal therapist or business coach that knows your business better than anybody else. And the more you do that, the better it knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does kind of tell you what you want to hear sometimes. So you have to take it with a grain of salt, but it's been pretty dang helpful.
Yeah. It's funny. There's memes about uploading 10 gigabytes of confidential information into ChatGPT just to send an email.
Yep.
But I mean, when I get stuck on stuff, the options are, okay, I in the middle of the day, I need to come up with a problem or a solution to this problem.
Yeah.
I could spend the next hour being interrupted, trying to think about it, or I can go to a resource. It's very similar to just researching.
But it's like going to YouTube or Google or anything.
Speeds up that whole process and allows you to come up with a thing. It may not be the best decision always, but it is something. Move you in the right direction.
Yep, I agree. Okay, moral of the story, set aside time to think about what you're doing and go deep into stuff. Don't just stop at surface level.
Yeah.
Actually go deep. Part 2, avoiding the stupidity tax. Most business pain is self-inflicted.
Have you ever paid any stupidity tax?
I paid mostly stupidity tax.
I paid a lot of stupidity tax.
I think it's man, who's the financial guy, Dave Ramsey, that everybody hates.
Mm-hmm.
I love that guy, to be honest. I think he's pretty awesome. He always says like his success stands. He's got what 5 successful things, and they stand on a mountain of failures.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, if you imagine every time I fail at something, it's like a little pebble. There's literally a mountain of failures, and I have like 5 pebbles that have been successful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a great way to think about that. So when I'm talking about stupidity tax, there's like some things that I've done. So like poor delegation. It took me a long time to figure out how to delegate things.
Yeah.
Or even what I should be delegating. And then once you delegate, it's like I give really vague instructions, because like in my mind, I see this big picture. I've got all the inputs. I know every little detail about the business. And so I think if I just give them this one little sentence, they'll totally get it and run with it.
Yeah.
But they don't have the vision of it that I do
Mm-hmm.
to be able to see it the same way. And then once you like give those instructions to that person, even if they're not vague, they're like great instructions, you got to hold them accountable to those instructions as well.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it costs you money and momentum.
Yes, absolutely.
That's probably the hardest thing on the planet.
Delegating, like effectively delegating, pretty tough. There's a lot of times where I'm like, man, I should hand this off to somebody. It'll take me 10 minutes to pass on the information, or it'll take me 4 minutes to do it myself. I'll just do it myself.
Yep.
And then I end up not delegating things. That's not the way to go. I know that I'm guilty of doing it the wrong way, but I know the value in delegating things.
Yep.
That you yourself just don't need to be doing.
Yeah. So if you find yourself with too much stuff to do and you're overwhelmed and things are falling through the cracks, that's when you need to start delegating.
Mm-hmm.
For me, when I get to that point, I typically know what I'm working on. So I'll make a giant list of all the stuff that I do in a day.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know what it is, just track it for a week. Like every time you go to do something, write it down.
Yeah.
And then compile that into a big list. And I would put it in a spreadsheet, and I'd make big list of all the stuff. And then there'd be like 4 different columns. One would be I do, don't do, delegate, automate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would look at that, every item on that list, and I would check it one of the boxes. Okay, I still have to do this. Okay, well, let's go put time on my calendar for doing that thing to make sure that it gets done.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of things, like a lot of people will find they're filling their task list with stuff that just doesn't need to get done right now.
Sure.
Like maybe it needs to get done eventually, but it's not important enough to like clog up anybody's time.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can just put it off for later. There's a whole bunch of those.
Yeah.
Like you heard it on a podcast. You were watching our podcast and they said to do this thing. And so it's on my list. But if I really think about it, it doesn't actually apply to me. So just don't do that. Like check it and delete it off the list if you need to. And then there's automate and delegate. So the rule is like, don't do something you can delegate and don't delegate something you can automate.
Mm-hmm.
And just go through your list and just check everything. And then if you checked like automate on anything, then go back through and say, okay, can I delegate this automation? And if you can, then check the delegate box.
Yeah.
And so then once you go through that list and you delegate everything over and then you automate everything else, you're left with just way less tasks that you actually have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. That's what I would do.
Yeah, learning to delegate, pass stuff on is I love automating. I want to automate as much as I can. I don't want to have to go back and search through a thing. I want it to be taken care of by something.
Like things like as simple as like automating your email organization, or
Yeah.
like I look at your emails and everything's tagged and organized. It's pretty awesome.
I look at yours.
Don't look at mine. Don't look at mine.
You got a list of 30,000 things to do.
I have 680 unread text messages, 163 missed calls, and yeah, it's like 30,000 unread emails. Yeah.
I don't email you anything unless
it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's funny actually. Someday I'll hire somebody to organize it all. And I'll be like, yo, Eddie, check out my email.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, dang.
Yeah.
So once you delegate though, then you have to have good instructions. So like you need to either create an SOP for this if it's something that's going to continually happen, or sit down and do it with somebody and like record it while you teach them how to do it. And then that's your SOP.
Mm-hmm.
Or do it with them, make sure they understand it, watch them do it, and then tell them to make an SOP and then send it back to you so you can review it.
Yeah. That would be the best way.
Yep. Then your instructions are really clear.
Mm-hmm.
If you just I do this all the time. I'd call my CSR and be like, hey, we need to start doing this. And then a week later when it's not getting done, I'd be like, hey, I told you to do this. Why isn't it getting done? Oh, I didn't understand you wanted me to do it forever.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Or, oh, I didn't know you wanted this done every day. I was going to do it once a month. Or, I don't know. All sorts of stuff goes wrong.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know you wanted it done like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing it like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then that like passing on that one task or delegating that one thing becomes this whole extra headache of stuff that I have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
When if I would have just delegated it properly with very good instructions and made sure everything was understood, then it would be done and over with.
Yeah.
So it takes a little bit of time up front, but it saves a ton of time in the long run.
If we try to be super efficient with everything that we do, and so like if we can trim down the word count initially, then dude, we just gained all kinds of time. And sometimes that ends up costing you a bunch of time.
Here's the other thing too, like we have resources to be able to pass on really good instructions nowadays called ChatGPT. Just open up your phone and go to your wingman and be like, okay, I need to write instructions for this task that I'm doing. I'm going to do it and I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. And I want you to record what I do and turn it into step-by-step instructions.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could go to your computer and turn on Loom and record the whole thing if need be. And you can take the Loom video and then the ChatGPT written instructions and combine the two. And now you got a SOP.
Yeah.
And that should be very, very clear. They've got a visual demonstration and a written demonstration to be able to do what you need them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Those kinds of things, like super important.
Yeah.
So then once you give them the instructions, there has to be some sort of accountability structure, some sort of check mark. This is getting done. That's probably the hardest one for, like, I would say that's probably the biggest mistake that I see is that people put instructions, even if they're vague, maybe their employees learn them eventually, but there's just zero accountability.
Yeah.
Give me an example of that.
There's been a lot of examples of that over the years, but there's been several where I've asked the technicians to post pictures, and I tell them the importance of it, and I say, all right, go out there and do that. And it seems like it's clear, and they all say at the meeting that, yep, we'll do that. I see you're asking for it, we'll do that.
Yep.
And then I'll assume it gets done, and then I'll go do a spot check and see, and there's not a single picture posted on this. And I message the guys and I say, what's going on? Why are there no, I didn't know you meant like that. Or, yeah, I forgot about that. Or I've got them on my phone. I'll upload them later.
Oh, you meant pictures on every job?
Right. Every single one.
Really? When you said every single one, you actually meant it?
Right.
I thought you were joking.
There's been accounts receivable stuff. I need you to check accounts receivable at least 3 times a week when in between calls, when it's slow and there's downtime, go check accounts receivable.
Yep.
And so then, and I'll show them how to do that. I go back and I look at it and I see that there's a ton of accounts receivable from a long time ago. I asked what the status is and they said, oh, I didn't even think about that, but I put it on the calendar. Remember, I created that calendar to have you go through at this cadence and do these things. Oh, I forgot the calendar existed. Okay.
Yep.
So now we got to go back and talk about it again, bring it up again, and it can lead to hurt feelings, all kinds of stuff. But
so one example, like the picture example of your technicians, me and you did a shop tour over at Paradise Home Services, who's my neighbor, started that, got it to 8 million, sold it to private equity. And he stayed behind, and he was like his last week. So he gave us a shop tour on his last week of being there. And one thing we learned there, they have, it's a decent sized company. They had like 35 technicians out in the field, and they have a dedicated dispatcher. And the technicians are not allowed to dispatch to their next job. So they removed that from Service Titan. So they have to call the dispatcher before they clock out of their job, and they run through a checklist.
Yep.
And so we took that and we said, oh, dang, I like that, because we were having the same problem here. Dude, you didn't take pictures. Hey, there's no notes on this job. All sorts of stuff, right? So we created, or you created, I didn't do any of it. We implemented that here, where they have to call the CSR and get manually dispatched to their next job. And she runs through a checklist, depending if it's a sales member or a wash tech. The questions are different. And all that's built out in Service Titan on a form, and it tags the jobs.
Yeah.
Technician performed. Is it at standard?
Upholding standards or below standards. Yeah.
Technician upholding standards or technician performed below standards based on the answers to the questions. Very cool.
And it's, all of that. It's half automated, half delegated, in that the CSR does that at the end of every job. But as soon as she's done, you can create conditional forms. And I don't want to get off on too much of a tangent, but it'll auto tag that job. And so then me and you later can go back and search, okay, how many times did in the last month, did the technician not ask for a review? That can be part of your scorecard. How many times did they
So now during your monthly one-on-one, you're like, hey, you failed to ask for a review 80% of the time. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Or you failed to uphold our standards 50% of the time. That's unacceptable. So let's go look at what part you're not upholding, and let's get that fixed moving forward.
Yeah, and then our conversation before that can be like part one. Were we unclear?
Yeah.
Or were they blatantly just neglecting to follow the process?
Yep.
That changes the conversation that you have with the person.
Oh, yeah, totally. So that would be an example of good accountability. Like, we're making sure that the things that we need done are getting done. And they're held accountable for it. If you don't do them, we're going to know, because we're tracking it, and we're going to let you know. And if it gets out of hand, then we're going to promote you to customer.
Yes.
Okay. That's probably the at the end of all accountability, there has to be that, like, you have to draw a line in the sand at some point and say, hey, if you cross this line, you can't work here.
Yeah.
It's part of the deal. I remember watching podcast. I think it was Lance Bachman's podcast, in Tommy Mello's office, talking to Tommy Mello. And they were talking about their turnover rate on new technicians. And it was, for Lance, he talked about sales guys in the first 6 months. And then Tommy talked about just like overall his employee turnover was 37%. And I think in the first 6 months, it was 50%. And they were talking about, how do we, like, he's like, okay, so if I bring in 100 technicians, we train 100 of them. 6 months later, I've got 50 of them left.
Yeah.
And he said that they were making it to like month 5, month 6, And now they're trying to figure out how to like shorten that time frame to get rid of those people sooner because they're costing them on missed opportunities. They're costing them on management headaches. They're costing them on all sorts of stuff. And I think it's kind of a cool idea. I mean, that talk about like accountability.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we're going to hold you to these things so that hopefully I can fire you in 4 weeks instead of 16 weeks. Because that would be much better for me, much better for you, much better for my customers,
100%.
and much better for all my other employees.
Yeah.
I found that very interesting.
You got to have some sort of system in place in order to for whoever hires and fires to be able to see, like, spot that stuff as early as you can.
Yep.
So that you can, I mean, it would be a shame to cut somebody that, you know, with a little bit more work could turn into what you need, but you got to have like performance at a certain rate. It just has to be there. And so you need to have a system.
Yeah. And there needs to be a line in the sand. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. I like that.
Me too. That rate is a bit higher than I expected. Like
totally.
I don't know why I thought it should be.
So his thing was like, if you're growing, like if you don't have turnover, you're not growing.
Yeah.
Because employees don't like turnover, and you have to have turnover in order to get new employees. So like it made me feel better about, because like starting Dude Wash, like I go look back at all of our past employees here at Dude Wash. We've gone through quite a few employees, but it's like they come in and they're underperforming, and I don't think they're going to get any better. And so far, we've been pretty quick to just say, all right. Or we have an employee and we're like, crap, we didn't give them very good instructions and we're not holding them accountable. And so we're not getting the result we want. The second we go put instructions or accountability in place, they're like, oh, I'm out.
Yeah.
It's like, interesting.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. I find that fascinating, but it made me feel better about, oh, okay, well, we're just getting rid of the people that we didn't really need here in the first place. The other half of that is like your employees, if they don't have clear instructions and accountability, they don't really know if they're doing good or not.
Yeah.
And so like somebody who wants to come to work and perform really well, and you give them like clear outlined, this is what I need from you. Here's how we're going to measure it. I'm going to meet with you every week for the next 4 weeks to make sure this is happening. They're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I just got to hit these things.
Yep.
Dope. I'm on it.
I love that. It's like, just some sort of course correction or accuracy correction. When I'm out there in the field and I think I'm doing good, I love being able to, maybe I'm different, but I love being able to get a hold of whoever my boss or supervisor or owner or whoever and say, this is what I'm doing. Is this correct? And ideally they would, everything I was doing was correct, but I'm not offended when they say, no, not that. I need it to look like this.
Yep.
All right. Sounds good. I'll adjust. And I make my adjustment and then go out there and do it.
I think a lot of people, I agree with you. I think a lot of people, like business owners, when they have like talking about delegating and accountability, they're scared to hold people accountable because they don't want them to leave. And just like that is no way to run a business.
Right.
At all. It's literally the worst way to run a business.
Yeah.
That's letting your employees run the business, not you, the owner. And you're the owner, you need to run the business. And if your employees don't like it, then you need to find employees who will or do.
Employees usually have no problem putting your money and your business and your reputation at risk.
Yeah.
Doing things that you yourself would never do.
Agreed.
They've got no problem putting that stuff at risk.
Agreed.
Because they don't feel the downside of that.
Yeah, and most of them don't have the bigger picture knowledge about everything or the understanding of things to actually make some of those decisions. So they might not understand why. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. Part 3, there's 4 kinds of problems that leaders face.
Mm-hmm.
This is straight out of your favorite book.
Dude, I love that book.
What's that book? I know we mentioned it a few podcasts ago.
The Road Less Stupid.
The Road Less Stupid. You know, I want to say that I read that book, but I can't. I don't know that I have.
Me and you were talking about it, fixing the culture problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually when I was down visiting in 2023, I think it was. We were talking about that, and you said, I'm going to buy it. You read it, but you've read a lot of books over the years.
Yeah, I probably don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. So 4 kinds of problems that leaders face. There's number 1 is lack of anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is bad assumptions. Number 3 is ignoring reality. I can see that one.
Yeah.
And then emotion-driven reactions.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with number 1, lack of anticipation, like not setting expectations before problems show up.
Mm-hmm.
You read this book and you remember it. So tell me about lack of anticipation. What does that mean to you?
So the example that comes to mind for me is, and it's the easiest example to draw in the field as a technician when I'm working on a piece of equipment. Like, I want that customer to know, to be able to anticipate how the day's going to go or how this repair is going to go. If they're going to be without hot water and I don't tell them that, then they're going to be a bit frustrated because
Yep.
I didn't tell them what to expect.
Yep.
About how the workflow is going to go.
Yep.
And so if you're able to provide all that information up front, then you can apply that to all kinds of different scenarios. But if you're able to provide that type of anticipation, clarity up front, then it's smoother. The whole process is smoother for everyone.
Yeah. How does that apply in leadership of other people?
So if we're anticipating, like if we're trying to change a system out there,
Mm-hmm.
then everybody's kind of stuck to the old way. The old way is the way that we used to do it, and we're all trained on that, and we're all familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so me and you talk and figure out a new way to do it. So then we want to implement this new way of doing the thing, whether that's memberships or estimating process or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's our responsibility to say, okay, the old way, everyone's used to doing it this way, and implementing this new way, there's going to be a few other challenges or customer questions or logistical issues. We should anticipate those and train on those as well, not just, I know it used to be step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now it's going to be step 1, 3, 4, 7, 9. Giving them, any kind of scenarios that we might expect in the change of workflow. If a customer asks this, your new answer is this, or whatever.
Yep.
If we're able to provide all of that and kind of allow them to operate on their own out there in the field instead of them saying, shoot, I don't remember, let me call. Like, that slows everything down and we look incompetent to the customer.
Yep. Yep. Makes sense. Okay. Bad assumptions. Believing employees just know. I assume everybody knows.
Yeah.
Like assumptions, there's some phrase about assumptions, but they're like, assuming anything seems like a bad idea in business.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I assumed you knew that.
Mm-hmm.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Or I assumed that was clear. Or I assumed that I wouldn't have to communicate this to you. I assumed I wouldn't have to tell you to cut your fingernails when you came to work here.
Yes.
Or I assumed I wouldn't have to tell you that you actually have to take care of your equipment and that this vehicle checklist that I created for you, that it's on your schedule, actually has to get done.
Mm-hmm.
Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bad assumptions.
Bad assumptions. Dude, we've gone through a lot of that over the years.
So my moral of the story is just don't assume anything.
Mm-hmm.
So make it, it kind of goes back to the part 2 is like, just make sure it's crystal clear every single step along the way,
mm-hmm.
and draw the line in the sand. And you should be okay with assumptions. Don't assume they know anything.
Yeah.
Assume they know nothing. Like you're taking a 5th grader, putting them in your business, and they need to know all the details. Okay, well, you got to show up to work with clean clothes on.
Yeah.
Make sure you take a dump before you leave your house, because you're going to be out at somebody's house and you are not allowed to take a dump in their driveway, in their yard, or in their home.
Correct.
That one gets me. I think everybody should get on a regular pooping schedule and they should figure out how to make that happen before they leave their home.
Yes. If you learn nothing from this podcast.
That's it right there. So assume nothing, and then ignoring reality. So like avoiding performance issues. Like if you have an issue and you're just like, I'm going to choose not to think about that because I don't know what to do about it. I don't know how to handle it.
Hopefully it'll get better on its own.
Well, hopefully it'll get better on its own. Or it's it's an awkward conversation, or it's going to get heated and there's going to be some conflict and you don't like it.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things, like just quit ignoring it. Just dig into it.
Yeah.
Because that's probably the thing you're ignoring is probably the thing that you need to dig into the most.
100%.
Yeah.
That book Traction talks about that a bit. A lot of times in the book, they're talking about letting someone go that like needs to be let go.
Yep.
But you're avoiding it because
you're ignoring it.
Yeah. Because it's going to be difficult.
Yep.
It's going to be a hard conversation to have.
Yep. That's why you need an Eddie.
In that book, they talk about 36 hours of pain as opposed to leaving that person in place and having weeks and weeks and weeks or months and months of pain.
Totally.
So opt for the lesser amount of pain, 36 hours of pain of I have to have this conversation with the person, then I have to close their accounts or remove their access to certain things, and then I have to figure out who's going to do this instead, and I got to follow up with this, that, and the other. It's usually like 36 hours of that.
Yep.
Otherwise, if you leave them in place to keep doing the thing well below whatever your standard is, you can drag that out for weeks and months, and who knows what kind of opportunities lost.
Oh yeah, it's not good for you. It's not good for that employee. It's not good for your customers. It's not good for your other employees.
Mm-hmm.
If you're having a hard time like getting rid of people, like that, there's a Chip Gaines wrote a great book called Capital Gains.
Mm-hmm.
You ever read that?
I did not. It's on my list.
It's a great story, but he talks about he gives an example of that in that book and how he had to learn that lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a good story. It just helps bake it into your brain a little harder. Yeah. Good book. If you guys haven't read Capital Gains by Chip Gaines. Number 4 is emotion-driven reactions. I don't feel like I have an emotion. I feel like I tend to not think about my emotions, but maybe I'm wrong. You probably know me better than I know myself. I try to be as data-driven as possible.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm feeling an emotion, like about somebody or something in my business, I usually try to go back it up with data before I ever do anything about it.
You always default to maybe I'm doing this wrong, or maybe I didn't tell them,
always.
Or maybe it's my fault for one reason or another.
To a fault.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. You're very unemotional person. Like, in fact, I think it's funny. There was that time up at Prospector where we had to go recover that technician's van.
Yeah.
And we brought it back to the shop and got it inside and opened it up, and the whole van was trashed.
The van was like, so that in particular person, I got a call from, he came to work, we hired him, he was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a son. He had his son at home. Him and his wife were split. He had a girlfriend. His wife lived in the lower 48. He lived in Alaska. And his son would come up for the summers to Alaska to spend time with dad.
Mm-hmm.
And when his son was there, he was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of reviews, tons of revenue, sold all his jobs, showed up on time. I was like, man, this guy's rad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2 months later, his son flies back down to the lower 48 is what we call it in Alaska. And all of a sudden, this guy's performance starts slipping until I get a call from his girlfriend one day saying that he is in the hospital for alcohol poisoning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, does he have an alcohol problem? And she goes, oh, yeah, it's bad. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to let him go. God, can you have him call me?
Mm-hmm.
So he calls me from the hospital and I have to let him go over the phone. And then I go meet his girlfriend and get his van and his iPad and his shop keys and credit card and all that and bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
And we open the doors and that thing is, guy went from neat and orderly to like perfect employee to like literally the worst thing on the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
That van was trashed.
It was trashed.
And like you opened it up and I'm looking at it and I'm like, dude, what the hell happened inside of here? And we're throwing away frozen fruit cups that we pull out of the dash and all kinds of stuff in there that has nothing to do with plumbing or heating.
Yep.
And like, why the hell is it even in here? And I don't know what was going on inside, but like on the surface, you looked like, okay, let's get this shit taken care of. And then a little ways into it, you said, you want to see me pissed? This is me pissed. And to me, I was like, I think he probably is pretty pissed, but it was not as pissed as I get when I get pissed. And I was like, damn, this is pretty subdued.
So there's more to that story of why I said that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I worked with a guy, Jason Pasillas. He was my first business partner. You know who he is. We started changing mechanical together.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, in Alaska, you go through a 5-year apprenticeship. And he had just got done with his apprenticeship and I had just started mine.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a journeyman and I was an apprentice. And we were building these condos. We were doing the plumbing and heating for 50 condos.
Mm-hmm.
You've been to those condos.
Yep.
And we were doing the slab heat. So laying tubing on the plywood floor, and then they come in and they would pour, they poured Gypcrete, 1.5 layer of Gypcrete. And we had a staple gun, a pneumatic stapler to lay the tubing and staple it to the floor. And it was before like all the cool technology had come out. So these were just regular old staples, like
Mm-hmm.
metal staples. And you could staple the tubing with the gun if you put it in the wrong spot and pulled the
Mm-hmm.
trigger. It would just staple right through the tubing. And we would have to cut it, dive it down underneath the floor into the crawl space, put a coupling, and then dive it back up. And we would be getting done with these. And Jason, every single time, would look at me. We'd be like 6 feet from finishing a 350-foot run. And he would say, you better not staple that tubing or you're going to see me pissed. And so one time he says that, and literally 2 seconds later, I stapled the tubing.
Oh, shit.
And he throws the tubing down and he goes, I think he said the F word. And then he looked back at me and goes, this is me pissed. And then we just went back to work. And so I just kept doing that. I would tell everybody, you don't want to see me pissed.
Yeah.
Like I heard that from him so many times. Like, you better not staple that tubing. You're going to see me pissed, and you do not want to see me pissed. And I was an apprentice. I was freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
And so after hearing that time and time again, and I never stapled the tubing, and then that one time I hit it, and that was his reaction. He wasn't really pissed. It was funny.
So what's funny to me now with that context is inside you said, you want to see me pissed? This is me pissed.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can deal with this, honestly. That's not that bad.
Yeah, I wasn't pissed.
But I was just like, and so to me, like, that's the example to follow if you are going to not be emotional and like you're super even keel about everything.
Dude, most of the time I found that
probably to a fault.
Yeah, I think getting emotional about it doesn't, like, especially after the fact, doesn't really do you any good.
It doesn't do you any, like, dude, if you're super emotional, the problem gets solved faster. I don't believe that, but I do think that it's important for onlookers to be like, oh shit, that over there is an uncomfortable place to be. So I'm going to do what I can to stay out of that uncomfortable place.
I agree.
I think there's some value in that.
Yes. I think a tad bit of emotion on your face can help you communicate clearly.
Yes. The severity of the situation.
Yes, I would agree there. And really that's like emotion-driven reactions. Like, you don't want to get so emotional that you're just like
lose it.
You lose it.
Yeah.
Some emotion that helps you clarify how pissed you are. Perfect.
It's a form of communication that doesn't need any words, honestly.
Yeah. Yep.
And so like having some sort of reaction is fine. It's got to be controlled, but like it's a way of communicating the severity of the situation.
Yes, I agree.
People need to be able to predict you as the leader. And
I guess the reason I have a hard time getting emotional about it is I always go back and I'm like, well, where did I screw this up at?
I know.
Like, how did I not see this coming? And how did I allow this to happen in my company?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's my fault. And I have a hard time being pissed at the other person.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Lack of anticipation, bad assumptions, ignoring reality, and emotion-driven reactions. Emotion-driven communication is okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Part 4, from tasks to value creation. This is one that I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about, but rather than having people just there checking boxes, teach them to basically create value.
Mm-hmm.
So showing your team members how what they do plays into the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
So that they're not just there just doing menial tasks every day,
mm-hmm.
but they know that when they're doing these menial tasks that it has this effect on the whole.
Yeah.
And that they're part of a whole and a thing and
Mm-hmm.
an organism going somewhere. I think when people see that their work is connected to something like that, it's connected to like the result of the success of the organization and all the people around them.
Mm-hmm.
Now they feel like they're part of a team, and they can. I think you'll naturally see them step up and want to like have a desire to do these tasks, even if they're like, I hate doing this.
Mm-hmm.
At least they can look at it and go, yeah, I hate doing this, but
there's a good reason
it has this
behind it.
effect on the organization
Mm-hmm.
and my fellow team members. And so I'm going to do it to the best of my ability.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty easy one to explain.
Yeah. That one's not too bad.
Yes. So how do we do that in practice, right? How do we take, like, what does that entail?
To get your technicians to create value instead of just checking a box.
Well, technicians, CSRs, like how do we make them
any employee?
How do we get them to understand how what they do affects the whole, and to understand that like we're trying to take this organization here, by organization I mean business, and what you do out in the field helps accomplish that, helps the team accomplish that.
Mm-hmm. So if they've got no background in this field, they have nothing to compare it to. So you can start there. Like if they've never been a technician in the field before, or they've been a technician in the field for somebody else before, and we always used Jobber. Well, here we use Service Titan, and the capabilities of this software compared to that software are way more capable with Service Titan than with Jobber, and here's how. And then you can show them like, here's the and I'm just picking Jobber because it's one I've never used before. Here's the way that it's done in this CRM. Here's how Service Titan does it. Here's the way that it's done on this CRM, and it kind of falls short here. Here's how Service Titan does it. And you can kind of show that even just the CRM that we choose provides a better service to the customer. The overall experience is better to the customer and for us. If there's a process or system that we use here that nobody else uses, or the other place that they used to work didn't use, then we can show them how this process or system that we use here delivers a better product, because that one falls the other way falls short in this area, and this area, and this area, and we can kind of show them the outcome being better following this process, as opposed to any other process or the other way that you guys used to use it back at that other company.
How important do you feel that like a mission statement and core values are in taking those like understandings to a bigger, higher level?
I don't think you can. I don't think you can do it without that stuff
Mm-hmm.
in place.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like if you like,
Oh, hey, I'm going to totally interrupt you.
yeah,
And this is slightly selfish
mm-hmm,
because it's in the core value idea, right? We've been thinking about our core values
mm-hmm,
and what we value as a company that we want our employees to uphold. And I thought I got the best one.
yeah,
And we're going to add it. Good
okay,
intentions pave the road to hell.
yeah,
This is going to be one of our core values
mm-hmm.
because I don't care about your intentions.
I don't either.
I could care less.
It
What I
sounds
care
terrible
about,
to say, doesn't it?
yeah, it does. But this is a problem I've had with a lot of employees. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying really hard. I'm doing the best I can, and it's like, great, but
I appreciate
you didn't get the
that.
result that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Like I needed this out of you. I asked you to get this result. I didn't ask you to try hard to get that result. I asked you to get the result.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter how hard you try, right?
Yeah.
Or what your intentions were. We need the result. We need the
Right.
outcome.
Yeah, I've thought that way for a long time, and I've actually wrestled with that. Like I've kept that to myself for a while, just to kind of. I need to find out if I'm just like a ruthless, cutthroat person, but I'm not giving a shit about intentions for a while now.
Dude, after watching that podcast with Lance Bachman and Tommy Mello talking about basically being cutthroat, I don't think we're cutthroat enough.
Maybe,
to be honest with you.
Like imagine, well, we had that issue with that one technician who pumped sewage all over the floor.
Yep.
I never intended to flood the guy's basement with his own raw sewage. It doesn't matter whether you intended to or you did not intend to. The end result was you pumped his basement full of raw sewage.
Yeah.
So like, I appreciate you not having ill intent, but the effect is the exact same as someone who did have ill intent.
Yeah.
So your intentions really mean nothing to me.
They don't.
I don't give a shit about people who try. Like, I appreciate you try, but when I hear someone say, okay, I'm going to try, I call them try babies. Like you're gonna try, but you're keeping the option of failure open. Like,
Yep.
I hope to do it, but keep in mind, I want you to anticipate that the fact of me failing still exists.
Yep.
Whereas like my approach is I'm going to get that outcome. Now, there could be multiple iterations of attempts for me to get that outcome, but that outcome will be had ideally on the first attempt, but not quite always.
Yep.
I don't really care about trying or intentions, or
Nope.
maybe I'm a jerk.
My bank account doesn't care about trying.
I know I am a jerk, but I'll say it.
I
It's
don't.
okay.
I think it's needed in business. So,
Mhm.
so when we set up like those core values like that, though,
Mhm.
okay, trying doesn't matter. The results is what matters, and then we communicate that to our employees, and then we give them like what the mission of the company is. Hey, our mission is to do this.
Mhm.
And then we go back and we go to the things that you talked about, like, okay, when we're writing this process or when we're using this software, this is what happens, and it's a better experience for this customer, which upheld this core value of ours, which helps us get to our end goal. So you doing this is a part of that bigger picture all the way through. I think that that can help employees be like, oh, okay, I get it now. I totally understand. Yeah, this step is stupid. I think it's ridiculous. It sucks, but it makes sense now that I see some of the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Core values being in place kind of helps them filter out options in the field. Like, should I cut this corner that no one would ever know that I cut?
Yep.
Should I should I put these couplings down under the subfloor so that they can be accessed and see if they're leaking?
Yeah.
Or should I just bury it in gypcrete?
It'd
No
be a
one's
lot
going to
easier
know.
to just bury it in the gypcrete.
Absolutely.
Yep.
No one would know. But you would know. And if that goes against your core values, then you can't allow it. It kind of helps filter out those decisions.
Yep. So we've been going through, or I've been going through the book. Well, you've been going through it too, the book Traction, and going through the core values and just the idea that you should hire and fire based on your core values. Like it should be a very key, integral part of your company. So what was the, so we have Monday meetings. And so as we create these core values, you've been going over them in the Monday meetings so that our employees know what they are as well.
Yeah. Yep. Go through one a week to make sure that they're all gone through. And then
when we get to our new office, we'll probably like make a poster of them or something. Cool. Okay. Part 5, systems, SOPs, checklists. I have always hated checklists, but I have a newfound love for checklists that are useful. I think I hated checklists because like getting people to actually fill out the checklist, like giving your technicians a end of job checklist to go through and they just go check, submit.
They just know the right answer.
Yeah. It's like, well, that's useless. Like you just wasted a minute of their time. If you do that every day for 260 work days, that's 260 minutes you just wasted on some dumb checklist that isn't actually doing you any good. But in the sense of they have to call the CSR and run through a checklist and answer questions honestly, because we can see whether they did it or not. I think that's a very valuable checklist in that sense. So there are valuable checklists. Typically if like execution out in the real world, like, or something doesn't get executed in your business, it's typically a lack of the system. It's either a lack of the system not being there altogether, or it's there, but your employees don't know anything about it. So if you create, and by systems, it's really your SOPs and your processes, or your manuals, if you want to call it that, just so that it's written down on paper. This is how you're supposed to do your job. It's very clear. And then you have to train on it. I think it was fascinating when I had, oh boy, I'm losing it.
What are you losing?
I'm getting old, dude. Thinking's getting harder. Who's the manual guy? Al Levy.
Yeah.
We had Al Levy come talk to our Wealthy Plumber group about SOPs and manuals and all that kind of stuff. And I thought the way that he went about it was cool. You have your SOPs, which he was like, that's just bullet points of everybody's stuff. And then you have your employee manual, and that's like way more detail, but not so much detail it's retarded. Like he gave the example of following a recipe to bake cookies. They tell you preheat the oven to 350, mix 3 eggs and a cup of flour in a bowl. They don't have to tell you like how to actually set the temperature on your oven.
Right.
They don't have to tell you to go to the fridge, open the door, grab the egg carton, open the egg carton, crack the eggshell. So you don't have to be like so specific, but you need to let them know, like, here's the recipe is what your manual is. And then during your meetings, like his idea was you have these SOPs and you have these manuals and you got your technicians in a meeting. Guess what you're doing for training?
Yeah.
You're reading the manual. So for 30-minute training, you're taking turns reading out loud the manual. And when you get done with the end of the manual, you flip right back to the beginning and you start over again.
Yeah.
And it sounds like just treacherous to me. But if you take the time to write good manuals and SOPs, honestly, that's probably the best way to train. Because how we've trained typically in the past on systems and SOPs and that kind of stuff is we had these problems last week, so let's hash them out this week, which isn't necessarily bad. But there's all the stuff that maybe we don't even know that's going on that is actually in our manual that we're not covering.
Right.
So I think it's pretty genius. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it sounds terrible to read through the manual for training.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, that sounds like, I mean, we both had to do it when we went through the apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a chapter or a paragraph, and everybody had to go around the room reading it.
We'd cross words out on the next person who had to read.
So, I mean, it just sounds terrible. It sounds like pulling teeth. But at the same time, you can't just give them access to your manual and say, now make sure you read this.
They're not going to read it.
They're not going to read it.
Yeah.
Even on the, like for us, we're using, so Trainual, it was nice when we had Trainual at Prospector, but I think the price of Trainual has gone up.
Has it?
Last time I looked at it, it was $250 a month for Trainual.
Dang.
Which at this point, we're not really needing.
No.
But with Trainual, you can see how far everybody's gone through it.
Yep.
And so then you can then assign stuff and you can make tests in Trainual. So,
how far did the technicians at Prospector go through it?
Oh, geez. You wrote it initially, then I kept it up. And so I was always at 100%.
Yeah.
And then everybody else was like a maximum of, it was single digit percentages. Like nobody made it past 10%.
So there's 91% of the information they should know that they probably don't know because we didn't sit there and read the manual with them.
Yep. We went through it for a bit.
I feel like the best thing, sorry to interrupt you, but I feel like I say sorry, but I'm not actually sorry.
It's your podcast.
No, I'll be sorry later tonight. I'll be like, dang it. I'll apologize to you tomorrow.
Okay.
I feel like the best thing would be to read a portion, discuss it. So that you can, like, the discussion is the further details. Like, does everybody know how to set the temperature on the oven?
Yeah.
Do you know where the eggs are? Have you ever cracked an egg before? Do we need to show you how to do that with one hand?
There's probably a lot of assumptions.
Probably. Yep.
I assume you know how to check the oil in this piece of equipment.
Yeah.
I assume you will check it regularly, correct?
Yeah.
Those are not safe assumptions. In fact, we find out that we have found out that the checklist was there and you're supposed to accomplish the checklist, and they will check the right answer so that the form gets filled out correctly.
Yep.
They won't necessarily check the honest answer.
Yep.
And then they'll call you and say, hey, this thing doesn't work. I need to take it apart and figure out what's going on with it, just to find out that it was low on oil.
So real world example.
And the safety shut it off.
We had a technician come in here at Dude Wash and hand in his vehicle maintenance checklist, which part of that is checking the oil in the pressure washers. And then literally go out in the field and be like, my pressure washer isn't working.
Yep.
Come to find out it was low on oil.
Yeah.
And him and Eddie had some good conversations.
Some good conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. There was some accountability that happened that day.
We learned a lot about each other.
Yes. Okay. Systems, SOPs, checklists, they're there to reduce errors, make it so you don't have to micromanage your team. Expectations are clear, set up front, and it lets, again, your employees know that they're doing it properly. I wish I worked at a place that had all this stuff in play.
Me too.
Like I never got the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I never worked under it until I was supposed to support it or build some of it. Like,
dude, what's funny is my personality would be, I'd be terrible.
You'd be a terrible employee.
I'd be
That's funny.
I'd be awful. Like, because I would never hire myself as a technician at any of my businesses because I'd be terrible. You'd be like, where's your vehicle maintenance checklist? And I'd be like, I did that last night. I didn't fill out the checklist. Trust me, it's done. Like, I don't need your checklist. My stuff's maintained. Trust me. And that's not what we need here.
Right.
Yeah. It's fun.
It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. It has to be systemized, processed, organized. And I'm not that way.
Yeah.
I'd be terrible.
Yeah.
Part 6, culture and incentives. we kind of have been hinting at this the whole time, but what gets measured and rewarded gets done.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about measured. So you create these processes, these procedures, these checklists, these scorecards so that you're measuring the results. That's how you ensure that those things are going to get done. But then you also need to reward your employees for the behavior that you want.
Mm-hmm.
To an extent. You can't reward them for everything. Yay, you wore your uniform today. Here's $5. Yeah. Don't do that. Yay, you got a 5-star review. Like, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a firm believer that the objective of the business is to make money. And we should tie everybody's jobs to that same objective.
Mm-hmm.
How do we make money? And then reward them for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
For making the business more money.
Yes. So your only performance incentive should be you make more money because the business made more money.
Mm-hmm.
Anything outside of that realm should not get rewarded. And typically I would, so on the other half of that, there's all these things that they need to do. You could hold back their reward if they didn't do certain things. I've seen companies do that. We're like, hey, you didn't, you got below 4.8 average. You don't get your commission this week.
Mm-hmm.
All you get is your hourly pay. You are banned from commission for 90 days or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather just pull that person aside and be like, this is unacceptable. You have to fix this or you can't work here.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they don't fix it, they don't work here.
Yeah.
To me, that would be way easier.
I agree.
So it's go ahead.
I, in fact, had to do that to a guy. It was kind of between pulling his commission or firing him.
Yeah.
And I saw potential in this guy and I thought he could do it. And we ended up having some difficult conversation that didn't go so great. He wanted to argue and push back a lot, and that I should have let him go for that. But I removed his ability to earn a commission until he solved that problem, and then you must also finish this bit of training. And if you don't finish the training, you don't get your commission back. And that was terrible to do. And I expected it would take 3-4 weeks, maybe, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could solve those problems shortly. And then even if you did the training slowly, you could get it done in 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But it took him months to get that training done. The initial problem was solved relatively quickly, but months to get the training done, dude, that should have been the signal that we needed. Just send him on his way. But we drug it for far too long.
Yep.
And we should have made a tougher decision. It's difficult.
Yep. So I think performance pay is the way to go. I think if they're underperforming in other ways, make it clear what you expect of them.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't uphold that, then they can't work here.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to get commission, they have to work here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That. I think that would be the way to go.
First rule of getting commission, be employed here.
Yeah. So for us, for our technicians, we paid them hourly plus commission on anything over a revenue threshold.
Mm-hmm.
Our guys made $55 an hour. They had to bill out $12,000 before. At $55 an hour, if they brought in $12,000 a week in revenue, that put their labor at 20%. Mm-hmm. So anything over $12,000, we paid them 10% commission on. Here at Dude Wash, they make $35 an hour, so that minimum threshold is $7,500. Anything over $7,500, they're under 20%, so we give them 10% of it. Mm-hmm. I like that one because it's just super simple.
Mm-hmm.
You could do a straight commission. There's probably scenarios where I might do that. We've been kind of toying with it here, but I would just do 19% commission on total revenue and just keep it incredibly simple.
Yeah.
Don't subtract materials out and all that stuff. Otherwise you start, the other half of this is culture. And if you start creating confusing pay plans where they have to trust your numbers. There's going to be confusion, and there's going to be a lack of trust, and that lack of trust is going to affect your culture, especially if you accidentally mess it up. Like we did that at Prospector. We had this confusing pay plan in place, and then I accidentally messed it up, or the bookkeeper messed it up, or somehow the reporting got messed up.
Yeah.
And then it was like almost impossible to go back and figure it out. And then employees were pissed.
How much time you spent trying to solve that problem.
Weeks.
Yeah.
Literally like weeks of 8-hour days trying to figure out how much commission we owed people. We went back and paid it all reluctantly. Like it was irritating that, and you say it all the time now, but like if you show up 30 minutes before work and like your paycheck, it's Friday morning and your paycheck's supposed to be in your bank account at midnight, and you wake up at 12:30 or 1 a.m. and that money's not in your bank account, you're calling me. Like the second you wake up, you're calling me. And you expect me to fix it instantly. And yet I don't get the same, like, if you mess something up and I'm paying you to do something a certain way and you mess it up, shouldn't this be a two-way street?
Yeah.
And I like that analogy, and it's 100% correct. Unfortunately, your employees don't tend to think that way.
No, they don't. They think you're being a real jerk.
They do, until you point that out, and then they're like,
oh, that's right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Makes sense. You're paying me to perform a certain way. Yes, I am. And if you don't perform that way, should I just withhold your pay?
Yeah.
Or how do you want to do that? Yeah. How about you just don't work here anymore?
Yeah.
Moral of the story, it's the people that make your business. Okay. Part 7, hiring and responsibility. So, and I kind of just gave this away. It is about the people, but some problems I don't want to say you can't fix with training, but sometimes it's not about the SOPs or the training or any of that. It's about, do I have the right person in the right seat? Does this person align with the company values? Does this person align with the company mission? Does this person have the, how do they put that in the book Traction? There's 3 things they talk about that you need to, that you would know if the person's in the right seat.
Yes, I remember it. I read it a little bit ago, but I can't recall it right now.
Dude, I'm going to look it up because it was literally like my favorite thing ever.
Yeah, it's pretty important. And once Jared finds the answer to it, it makes a lot of sense right away. Oh, damn, this person's just, they're not, doesn't necessarily mean that they're a terrible person or a terrible employee. It just means that you're applying them wrong.
Yeah. And there might not be a seat on the bus for them.
Right.
That's okay. So they get it, they want it, and they have the capacity for it. So I've had employees that get it, they want it, but they don't have the capacity for it. That one used to stump me because I thought everybody has the capacity for everything. I no longer believe that.
Right.
I think there's some people who have the capacity for certain things and some people who don't. I've also had people who think they get it and think they want it and have the capacity for it, but the reality is that they didn't want it and they didn't get it. So I think those are really cool. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, do you get what the overall goal is? Do you want to be a part of that? And then do you have the capacity to do what I'm asking you to do? Are you
capable of doing the job I asked you to do?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. It kind of coincides with like, are you willing to do it, or was it willing and capable?
Yeah.
You're either not capable or not willing. I like these 3 because it's like, get it, want it, and have the capacity. Just seems very simple.
Yeah. And so I probably didn't come up with it, but I know that when I was analyzing some problems at Prospector and again at Dude Wash, I look at it through the lens of like, is this person unwilling to do the thing I'm asking them to do?
Yeah.
Or are they incapable of doing the things I'm asking them to do?
Yeah. Or do they not understand the things that I'm asking them to do?
Sure.
And that would be the get it.
Right. And that's the third component that I never like, I never really thought about it because I was looking at it through my perspective of am I unwilling or incapable of doing the thing? If I'm incapable of it, then I just got to figure out like how to do the thing. There's all kinds of stuff I've been asked to do that I had no idea how to do until I learned how to do it. But I was never unwilling. Like there's never been a thing in my career where I was like, I'm unwilling to do that. I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah.
And to me, like if you can get the answer to one of those two questions, then you know exactly what to do. If this person's capable of doing the thing, but they're unwilling to do the thing, then I don't need you. Like if that is necessary for moving this business forward and you're unwilling to do it, promoted to customer, appreciate it.
Sayonara.
If they're willing to do it, I just don't know how to do it or how you want it done. Dude, I can work with that.
Yeah.
But then that third component of get it, I think kind of rounds it out a lot better.
I agree.
Like they're willing to do it. They don't know how to do it. No problem. I'll coach you on how to do it. And if at the end of all of that, they say, I don't get it. And I just don't like, yeah, I can follow the steps, but I don't get it. Or I'm not a believer in it.
Yep.
I'm not bought in. Then,
Yep.
Okay, then no problem. We'll find somebody who is.
Yep. I agree. And I think that's why it's so important to figure out like what your mission is, what your core values are, because it's much easier to communicate upfront that they get it and they want it.
Mm-hmm.
And then all you have to solve is the capacity problem.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're hiring based on values first and then skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Capacity would be skills. Do you have the skills to do it?
Yeah.
Because they can have the skills, but if they don't get it and want it, it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah. And you screen for values. Don't bring in a guy with no integrity and say, I'll coach him to have integrity. No. This is something that you screen for.
Yes.
If they don't have integrity, they don't have a spot on your bus.
Agreed. You can teach skills. You can't teach values.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you can teach values, but I don't think you have the time for it.
I don't either.
All right. So you should screen for this. If an employee fails, the leader needs to ask, did I make it clear? Is it simple enough? And did I give them enough reward to perform?
Mm-hmm.
I think making it rewarding enough is probably the least of these in my mind, but making it clear and simple, I think those are really important. A lot of us, again, when we go back to our delegation conversation, we don't clearly communicate what it is that we need.
Sure.
But then I also think where most people fall is like, it's so complicated. They literally, they couldn't make it clear if they wanted to, because the system they have is just like, it's like, wait, what do we do?
Right.
Like, you want me to be a plumber and a roofer and an electrician?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So keep those processes, like keep your overall business like super simple, especially in the beginning, because it's going to get more complex as you grow.
Look for things that you can get rid of.
Yeah. Like prospector is like, okay, well, we do residential plumbing and heating.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And we only deal with customers who will pay us $96 to come out to their house, and will pay us on site when we're done.
Yep.
That's it.
And
end of story.
And are agreeable.
Yep. And here's our software and our price book and the system we follow. And it's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
But at scale, it got more and more complex.
Mm-hmm.
So simple. Simple's the way to go. Part 8, filters for decisions. So before rolling out rules or policies, run them through filters.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting drier here in Florida. Have you noticed?
No.
Dude, it's dry season. I can tell. Like being here through the humidity for quite a few years and never going back to Alaska where it's dry as a bone.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel the air getting drier. I get more boogers. My skin's starting to get flaky.
Yeah.
I'm getting ruined, man. So a few like filters you can make. Would this make sense if I were in their shoes? So like turn the tables around and be like, okay, I'm in their shoes. Does this make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I think a good one is just like literally go get in their shoes.
Yeah.
Like we did that yesterday. You went and ran sales calls
Mm-hmm.
because we were like, we need to know what this
We need
looks
some
like
answers.
from there.
Yeah.
We need some answers, and you're probably the most trustworthy answers I could get would be out of you. And so you went and ran sales calls,
Mm-hmm.
and we got some good answers. Is this achievable with the resources I provided? So can they actually pull this off? Like, do they have everything they need to pull this off?
Mm-hmm.
And then is there a clear way to measure success? So what does success look like? How are we going to measure it? And then how are we going to communicate that to them?
Mm-hmm.
I think those are a good way to go. So if you're thinking about putting like a policy in place and it doesn't make sense if you're in their shoes or it's not achievable, they actually don't have the right tools, and then there's no clear way to measure success of it.
Yeah. Yeah. A KPI of was their attitude at an 8.5 or better throughout the day? Like, how the hell are you going to measure that? You can't measure that.
You can't.
So don't implement anything dumb like that.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be measurable.
I agree. And simple. And clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're kind of saying a lot of the same stuff. Like,
yeah.
Part 9, eliminate complexity. This goes back to being simple and clear. If it's complex, it's going to be impossible to pull off.
Yeah.
It might be okay, like if it's you or you and another guy, but the second you add 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people, those simple things become complex, and then complex things, they just fail.
Yeah.
They just literally won't work at scale
Mm-hmm.
because it's too much.
Takes too long to make a decision,
And you can't even like train your staff on like, you have too many like, if this, then that, and if this, then that. And
yeah,
if you get down here and then this and then that, then it's like, oh my goodness.
Yep.
Yeah. So simplify all that stuff, like all of your mission, your core values, your services that you offer, the people you serve, the goals you have, simplify your price book, simplify like every single process. Just like, how do I dumb this down and make it so easy a 5th grader can do it? Scorecards, the whole 9 yards. Keep it simple. That gives your employees like, it's very easy to communicate, very easy to understand, and then gives them like a clear, this is my target, and these are the boundaries on my target, and then they know, okay, I got to hit this one target, and that's it. That's how you'll be able to scale that thing.
Yeah.
Dude, that was all 9 of them. We're awesome.
Dude, we got through it all.
Part 9. Conclusion. So this whole thing was like, hey, how do we get our people to like actually do what we want them to do? So how do we get them to produce more? And it's funny because like when you talk about most employees producing more, typically it's like, oh, you got to put them on performance pay. That's only a portion of the thing. It's really like, it's not about pushing on them harder or saying, hey, here's an incentive. That's part of it, but you have to remove friction. You have to build a simple process they can follow. You have to clearly identify what their target is, and then you have to incentivize them to be able to hit that target.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a combination of all of those things put together.
If you build a system that only the founder of the company can succeed in, then I hope you like working alone, because you're gonna.
Yeah. Yep. And the second you try to hire somebody, then they're not going to perform how you want them to perform.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, like if you don't have all this stuff in place, it's a process.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get it day one. You're not going to write your core values down and then 3 years from now still have the same core values. They're probably going to change over time. You're going to create a process today, and then you're going to find out that somebody does it this way, and you're going to be like, what
That's
in the
way
crap?
better.
Or man, this is a way better way to do things. Or man, the market likes it better when I do this. And you're going to change it. It's a living, breathing, moving thing. I think that's what makes business so fun. That's all I got, man.
Yeah, that's good. I think that was a pretty good list.
Cool. If you guys are struggling at all to grow your business, be profitable in your business, go join our school group. Yeah. It's $99 a month. You get a 7-day free trial. You can literally go in for 7 days, steal everything out of there, and then drop out. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you won't, because that's how confident I am. It's cool. There's a community of like 900 other business owners in there. Yeah. All striving to do well. That in and of itself is worth the $99. You've got 900 other business owners that you can ask questions to, technical questions, business questions, area specific questions. We've got people all over the United States, Canada, South Africa, and Australia. So go check it out. Go to wealthyplumber.com. There's some free resources on there for you. You can click join our school group. It'll take you over to our school platform where you can join for $99 a month. Go check it out. See ya.